A month ago, alongside Wanderer, MiHoYo decided to release a character that could support not only him, but anemo characters in general. That support is Faruzan, and her impact on the game in that regard was definitely significant. Since Xiao's rerun is coming near, in this video I will analyze the impact Faruzan had on him at multiple constellation levels, and I will give you advices on whether you should pull him or not based on that. Let's get straight into it. To start off, it's important to understand what type of carry Xiao is. In fact, Xiao is rather unique, even among the sustained DPS of Genshin, because his damage window is one of the longest in the game, as his elemental burst, which accounts for the vast majority of his damage output, can last up to 15 seconds, which can become 17 or 18 when accounting for hit lag based extensions. The only one who can compare to him in that regard is Xiao. Having a damage window that long, while also not being allowed to switch out if you don't want the effects to end, generally translates to poor flexibility when it comes to real game scenarios, as it can be troublesome when contextualized with multi-wave or multi-phases type of content, where the cumulative health pool of the stage is distributed in several parts, causing sustained DPS such as Xiao to waste what's left of their rotation damage if they prematurely end one part. On the flip side, there is also content where there is just one big pool of health to take down, or even just a wave of many enemies with high HP value, in which case a long, strong damage window can come in handy. I'll take Wanderer as an example. Wanderer is an anemo DPS just like Xiao, and can be used with many of the same supports Xiao uses, but the difference between them is that Wanderer's damage window is shorter than Xiao, so even if his damage per second can be higher, his damage per rotation can be lower, which can result in Wanderer having to run a second rotation to end things, while Xiao's one, longer rotation can be enough for him in specific cases. This also is caused by the fact that health pools in a base are never particularly higher than 2 millions, which is generally within Xiao's team's damage per rotation at high investment. However, to fulfill that kind of potential, there are important aspects to consider for Xiao. First of all, since Xiao's damage window is that long, he also needs proper supports whose buff's duration fit with his field time. Characters like Yelan and Bennett fit well, although not perfectly, since their buffs respectively last 15 and 14 seconds, so they're slightly shorter than what would be optimal, but overall really good options for him regardless. Pyro and Geo Resonance are also a popular buff for Xiao, as their duration is unconditional. However, what truly changed things for him was Faruzan's arrival. Faruzan is a support that provides the most impressive list of buffs from a single unit to date, but there is a kicker: she's a unit that suffers from all kinds of issues unless you have her at a certain constellation level. Specifically for Xiao, Faruzan's Constellation 2 is particularly useful, as it basically extends her buff's duration, and allows her to fit perfectly with the damage window I've been talking about. On top of that, Faruzan's Constellation 6 adds an ulterior, big buff, and also allows her to become a great battery for Xiao by making her elemental burst repeatedly activate her elemental skill. Thank you very much, MiHoYo. As a matter of fact, since Xiao is an elemental burst damage dealer, who needs to refill 70 energy every rotation to perform consistently, while not allowing his supports to consistently generate particles due to his greedy 15 to 18 seconds damage window, Faruzan being an all-in-one support for him at Constellation 6 is otherworldly. The results are truly amazing, as Xiao can now reach levels of damage per rotation that make his hyper teams compare to most other top tier teams in the game in single target scenarios, assuming Constellation 0 investment for 5 stars. Considering that Xiao's damage is also very consistent in most AoE scenarios thanks to his attacks having wide range, that's a fantastic achievement for him. Still, there can be some variance to Xiao's damage in single target situations. In fact, Xiao can benefit from a unique mechanic called collision damage. Collision damage occurs when Xiao's plunge collides with the opponent's hitbox before hitting the ground, which is when his normal plunge damage occurs. This means that through collision damage, Xiao can deal damage in two separate instances with a single plunge. Note that collision doesn't double Xiao's plunge damage, as it scales off a lower damage multiplier compared to his high or low plunge damage multipliers. But it's still high enough that it can impact his output quite significantly. The enemy having a large hitbox is a requirement for it to work. Also, since you specifically need to hit the hitbox, it won't be super consistent against enemies that move around. Generally, if you manage to generate collisions on about half of Xiao's plunges per rotation, that already puts him in a very respectable spot from a single target standpoint. So don't despair if you can't do it consistently in certain situations. Of course, in AoE scenarios it's impossible to generate collisions on everybody, but since Xiao's base output is already impressive in those situations, that's generally not needed. So, to answer the question, is Xiao worth pulling at this point of the game? The answer is, it depends. While Xiao is a potentially incredibly powerful hypercarry at Constellation 0, with a signature weapon that's more common to obtain than others since it can be found in the standard weapon pool, the reality is also that his performance can wildly vary depending on Faruzan's Constellation level. In fact, Faruzan's impact on him can even be as low as irrelevant compared to other options if she's Constellation 0. And she only becomes an upgrade over those at Constellation 2. Still, the real prize is Constellation 6, since based on my calculations, Constellation 2 Faruzan teams are generally quite average from a rotation damage standpoint, while Constellation 6 teams range from great to excellent depending on how many collisions are assumed. The issue with Faruzan is also that, looking at how other supports like her are handled banner-wise, so Sarah and Goro, she might only rerun with Wanderer in the future, just like those two only rerun with Raiden and Itto. So odds are you might never be able to get Constellation 6 Faruzan if you're a Xiao main who's not also interested in getting Wanderer, which is likely as a scenario, since the two of them overlap roles and teams wise. All in all, if you fulfill the right conditions, Xiao will feel very good and powerful for your account. But this might very well be completely theoretical for you, as Xiao probably suffers from the trickiest situation among all Genshin Impact on field damage dealers from a banner perspective. I'm done for today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe. See you next time!